All right, we are here with Stanford senior forward Michael Humphrey. Practice 8 for Stanford basketball is in the book, so let's just get right to that. How'd it go today?
Today was a good day. We competed hard, offense and defense, putting in a lot of new stuff. So everybody's kind of gelling and figuring out their roles, so we are making good progress.
So the start of practice per Coach Shaw was all about man-to-man defense as kind of the anchor. Coach Haas, sorry.
We just came from.
Yeah.
No, you're all good.
That's going to be a great edit. Anyway, man-to-man defense. How have you guys progressed there, and have you kind of moved on to anything as a major topic?
So every day we work on man-to-man defense. They've stressed that is going to be our strong suit. We're going to play that most of the game, and we want to have no mistakes in that, but we've started to put in some zone defense. On the offensive side of the ball too, we're just progressing in a ton of areas, but working on man defense a majority of the time and a little bit of zone.
Last week, Coach talked about you were putting together really good practices in a row.
Yes.
Defense, and also he said coming into his own on offense. If you could describe that from your perspective.
Yeah, I think I've done a better job of kind of knowing where to be on the court this year, not getting in other guys' ways as they're attacking the basket. That's a big emphasis for us offensively, is kind of getting to the middle of the paint and making the right play. And I'm floating a lot on the baseline for lobs and dunks, and then we're starting to get like pick and roll, pick and pop. So I feel like I'm very comfortable on offense and know where I should be on the court in relation to other guys.
So that's kind of an interesting basketball scenario that people don't talk about. When one of your teammates is driving to the basket,
Yeah.
What should you be doing?
Yeah, so we've stressed all spring, all summer, we worked on the offensive guy from the wing is going to drive to the middle of the paint, get to what we call the X, and then we're going to have a big guy who's in kind of the dunk spot. And I've played both positions, driving to the paint and that big spot. I feel good in both positions, but just kind of being under control, getting to the middle of the paint, having your shot, having the pass. So everybody's kind of figuring out their role.
And Coach has talked about you and Josh Sharma specifically saying, we're not going to make it complicated for you guys. We want to get you touches as close to the basket as possible.
Exactly.
And then off of that, you guys can take advantage with your face-up game. How you feel about that, how that's developing in terms of getting more opportunities near the basket, but also the fact that you can hit it from about 15 on.
Yeah, I love it. When you're, right around the basket here, it's simple. You're just catching the ball and going up and trying to dunk on somebody. And as we've progressed in practice, it's pick and roll, pick and pop like that. And like I was saying earlier, I can play this position right by the bucket, or I can kind of play out on the wing. So I feel comfortable in both, but it's a very simple offense. I'm sure as the season goes on, we'll build and get a little more complex, but right now it's easy and fun to play in.
So we can't have a conversation without talking about playing clean.
Yes.
And avoiding fouls.
Yeah.
I know that's a topic that has come up very often.
Definitely.
How's that going at this point?
Honestly, it's something that we've stressed in practice, for years now, but especially this year, I realize, mentally, I just know I'm more of a help to this team when I'm on the court instead of cheering on the bench. So, it's a defensive emphasis in a lot of practices, play without fouling, and I'm just thinking, don't put myself in that situation. I'm trying to do a lot of work on my man before he even gets the ball, or know where to be when I'm off the ball, and to be in that right position where I'm not late to help. I'm there and trying to take a charge, or even just preventing the guy from driving in the first place. So I think it's as much on me, but it's also kind of a team defense thing, that we're all not letting people get in the paint, and we're doing the work before they even get the chance to drive or put somebody in a foul situation.
When you reviewed last season, what stood out as in terms of was putting you in the most trouble in terms of had an official calling you for something?
Yeah, I think I wasn't getting to places as soon as I should have been. I was like you hear in sports all the time, one step late or things like that. But also just being smart in things like not jumping. I'm 6'10", put my hand straight up in the air, and it's going to be a tough shot anyway. So I think as I get older, just learn that people are going to hit tough shots. You're not going to stop every bucket as much as you're a competitor and you don't want anybody to ever score. People are going to hit shots, and I've learned my value is greater when I'm on the court than on the bench. So that's really what I'm thinking this year.
And what is the difference in the level of competition in practice this year with the new guys?
Yeah, it is, way different than it's been in the past. Every practice is super competitive. Two teams, we're changing teams up every day, and it doesn't seem to make a difference. Practices are intense right from the start, very competitive. And I think that's attributed to the new guys, but also the way the coaches are going through practice. Everything's for competition, everything's for running. So I mean, you go into practice knowing you got to be on your A game, both with who you're going to go against, and otherwise the coach is just going to start running you. So it's fun though, and practices are going really well.
And just one last thing then, newcomer of the day from your perspective.
Honestly, all the young guys are playing well. We've had a couple injuries, which I think is, I mean, not normal for us, but it's preseason, it's very physical. So I think all the freshmen, KP's sticking out. I mean, he'll play this year, which will be a ton of fun. But everyone's playing well. I can't really single out one guy, so they're all fun to be playing with.
Well, that's Stanford diplomat and
Exactly.
forward Michael Humphrey. Thanks for your time, Mike.
Thank you guys.